Hey, what's good, everybody? 757 Users back with another 100 scale model unboxing, and this time it is the JC Wings Swissair Boeing 747-300M. So, recently just picked this up from DG down in St. Paul, Minnesota, and kind of a weird one for me to buy. I am typically not a retro collector, but the main reason is because Swissair used to fly to Philadelphia. Back in the 90s, I believe it was just for 1 or 2 years. It would be a tag-along flight that would go from Zurich to Boston, Philadelphia, Philadelphia, Boston to Zurich. So it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, you know what? They flew to Philly. Let's pick it up. And they did use the 747-300 on that flight. So I said, you know what, why not? Let's do it. And plus, it's a really cool looking livery as well. So always like that old Swissair livery. But yeah, really cool JC Wings box. I do like the JC Wings box designs here. So I got the Swissair logo. It came in two registrations, the IGD one and IGC. The one here is IGC. And it has like a little commemorative sticker right there. Something with like I think it's like the Swiss independence, I think it is. I think it doesn't say it. But I think it has to do with something with the, I forget what it had to do with. Maybe you can see it when we look at the video, when we zoom in on her. Got the information about it. They got the JT9D engines on this aircraft here. But yeah, just a really cool looking box. Again, JC Wings always does really good with these things. So let's go ahead, open this thing up, and get some close-ups here for y'all. So already really cool looking plane. Again, going here, it's got the silver underbelly here as well. So open up the box here, and we'll get the plane out here for you all. And here it is. So looking really, really cool. So we'll get everything boxed up here, and we're gonna go ahead and get the close-ups here for y'all. All right, everyone, now that we got this unboxed, we're gonna go ahead, remove this out of the way, and get some close-ups here for y'all. So, get this thing to focus look a little bit better if it wants to. Try to get this thing there. There we go. All right, so you have your two boarding doors right there. You get the Swissair title, and then you have the stretched upper deck, with what the 300 did have. No rolling gears on this one. It's just they're fixed in place here. The title right there is the 700th anniversary of Swiss Confederation. So 700 years of, I guess, Swiss Confederation and all that. Then you have the engines. Obviously, there's the really old school Pratt & Whitney JTD. What are they? JT9D engines here. So really old school engine here. Almost like the cigar kind of engines there. Always thought, I mean, when I was growing up, always thought they were kind of like weird looking, but now that, I kind of appreciate some older stuff here, it's pretty cool seeing this stuff here. Right there, you have a cargo door. So this one is the combi version of the 747-300. So pretty cool, half passenger configuration, half cargo back there. You had your registration right there, Hotel Bravo India Golf Charlie, and then you have the all red tail with the Swiss logo on there, obviously representing the Swiss flag as well. So front view of the aircraft looks pretty cool. All that. Come to the other side here, you have your forward cargo bin door right there. Just notice there was a little logo right there. I'm not entirely too sure what that logo is. You have your aft cargo bin door with the bulk bed door right there as well. You got your APU hatch back there. Stand hole, all your gear doors. These gears do move, all that, obviously, but they don't roll, like I said. Then you have your registration once again over there as well. And then with your classic 747s, the 100, 200, and 300 have the little spikes at the end. I believe they do something with radio antennas. I'm almost certain, not entirely too sure. But then you have your nose gear door right there as well. So, and then obviously you got your chrome underbelly, which is always cool to see the chrome on there. So just a really interesting, cool model. With these 747-300s, these things were pretty rare. They just did not make a lot of these things. There was only a total of 81 produced worldwide. KLM was an operator. Obviously Swissair, Air France, Qantas. I know Ryanair had them at one point. I'm trying to think who else. I know there's another French carrier that did have them. I just can't think of the name. Corsair. Corsair had them as well. And I think obviously there's a couple more that did have them, but they just weren't. It wasn't a very popular type. It was mainly the engines were older at this point, and the 747-400 kind of really took over this place because they still had to have a 3-person flight crew in here, whereas the 400 didn't have it. The economics of the aircraft just weren't great compared to what the 400 could do. The 400 was just leaps and bounds better than anything what the 300 was ever really able to do. But again, just a really, really rare airplane, even when back in its kind of heyday. But a little information about Swissair, because the Swissair that we know today obviously is not this Swissair. This Swissair stopped operations in 2002, and they started in 1931, and then obviously there's a whole restructuring and all of that, and then Swiss International Airlines came out of this. So it's not the original Swissair that we're seeing in this video right now. And then talking about their 747-300s, I couldn't really find anything with a layout of these things, so I can't really say much with that. But they did have a total of 5 of these things in their fleet. 2 of them were just the regular full passenger configurations of the 300, where they had 3 of them of the 300M versions of this. So this one was a little bit more common, but these were retired in 1999, whereas the regular 300s were retired in 2000. So they both did enter service in 1983 as well, because I believe Swissair was the launch customer of the 300. But yeah, would have been really cool to see these, especially with them being in Philly, because I'd never go on, like, whenever I go on jet photos, I see a Swissair 747, and it's like, oh, that would have been cool to see back in the day, you know, something really different, because again, most people probably don't even know that Swissair served Philly at one point, but they did. Would be cool if they served it again, but that's never going to happen. But wishful thinking. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. Again, really cool, interesting model. If you love the classic 7.4s, if you just love the 300 and just the uniqueness of it, if you love retro models, this is right up your alley. Just a really cool plane. Obviously, this is never going to be at an airport of mine, but it's definitely cool to have this on the shelf and being displayed. I think it's well worth it. So that's going to wrap it up for this. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for some more videos coming out soon, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good one.